You're on your Feel Good Breakfast Show right here on S3. And my friend, I always tell you, this is where you get to have a fun day, right? In terms of starting it the right way. But we always have the conversations that matter. In the year 2024, we can be so proud because as a country, we celebrate 30 years of democracy. With that being said, it is our 7th national election where we are in this beautiful place that we find ourselves. However, it does mean that the things of today affect how, where, when we vote and everything else in between. And technology has got such a huge effect on that. Because in this age of misinformation and disinformation, we need to be 100% in the know of what exactly it is that we know and how correct it is. So this morning, we've invited our Google family to come and help us out, all in the name of this, to make sure that we are in tip-top shape and also equipped very well when it comes to knowledge. Come the 29th of May, and this is why Abongile Mashele is in the building, the head of government affairs, as well as, of course, public policy at Google. And she is the woman that is going to be answering our questions today in terms of how does technology affect us as voters. Hello, Abongile.
Hello, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming through. How are you feeling about the 29th of May?
It's an exciting time for anyone. It's important for governance, it's important for our country. And 30 years into democracy, it's new generations that are also voting. It may be a new era for the country, so it's a very important time.
100%. But let's jump into it, Abongile, because I know we don't have a lot of time with you. You're a very busy woman. So we need to know, please, because obviously, like I said, we're in the times of technology, right? And this affects so many different things, but especially when it comes to voting. So when we talk about transparency, as well as us 100% just understanding fairness and equality, how does technology add to this for us?
So technology does a lot of things for us. If you think about it, 70% of South Africans are actually online. They access technology. And as we lead up to the elections, it's only normal that people will be going to digital platforms to access information.
True.
They go to digital platforms to access information about who the candidates are, where do I vote, what are the different offerings that different political parties bring to the fore. So it's important for us as digital platforms to be able to enable them to do that. So as Google, one of our principles is actually to look at how do we organize the world's information and make it easily accessible to users. And that is the same thing, or the same principle applies for elections. How do we make the most reliable information accessible to users so that you as a user, Zanella, when you go to Google search and you look at what information you would like to use to inform you as you prepare for the vote, we surface the most reliable information. But now in terms of the integrity of the elections, we know that there will always be bad players in everything that we do. And the bad players, some of the bad acts that we will see online, it would be misinformation and disinformation. How do we combat that? In South Africa, we also have peculiarities such as hate speech. How do we ensure that there's no hate speech that is perpetuated on our platforms? And to respond to that, we've got various policies, we've got a lot of programs that we've put in place as well to equip users as well as political players to make sure that when they are utilizing our platforms, we do not use, there's no spread of misinformation. There is no hate speech that is perpetuated on our platforms. And we've got a plethora of ways of how we've done that as a company.
And I was going to ask you about that, actually, just diving into it, because, of course, like I said, 30 years of democracy, it is a huge thing for us as a country. But we know that Google is at the forefront of honestly doing everything you've just mentioned.
We're only 25 years old, by the way.
I mean, honey, that's almost as old as the democracy, which is amazing. But this is why I want to ask you then, especially in terms of supporting the integrity of the election, especially one that is so important because everybody has been saying that this is a huge one for us as a country. You know, what exactly is Google doing in terms of doing that and just really supporting us as a country?
Firstly, like I've said, utilize our platforms to make sure that we surface reliable and credible information. And we've partnered with agencies such as the Independent Electoral Authority because they are the ones who would be the go-to agency if we want to know if voting stations are open, where can people find the nearest voting station. So we've partnered with them. If you search on Google search right now on where to vote, on top of the search results, you would actually get an organized search results page that links you directly to the IEC website so that you can get the most credible information, because that's the only way you can combat misinformation, by surfacing credible information. Similar to YouTube, we ensure that when people search for anything news-related on YouTube, we surface credible news agencies such as yourself, and we're also partnering with newsrooms to help them to equip them to know how to use YouTube effectively for their own station, so that they can drive users onto their YouTube channels. So we've actually been having engagements with people in newsrooms who run digital platforms for newsrooms so that they can use YouTube effectively. So we've got those, and also we've got our political ads policy,
yes,
which basically governs or regulates how we use political advertising on our platforms.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we are very strict about is about transparency. We need to know who is placing the political advert on our platform, so you have to be registered. It's about ensuring that whatever political ad is placed does not perpetuate misinformation. So whatever you are placing in an ad on our platforms, it has to be accurate, it has to be true. It shouldn't transgress any of our policies.
Yes.
If you are utilizing artificial intelligence, for instance, you need to disclose it upfront so that we know that there is AI that has been used. And we also place it on our transparency report. So users or anyone can actually go to our ads transparency report and they can see who has been placing political ads, how much have they spent, and if there have been, if there are ads that have been removed for violating our policies, you can actually see those ads. And this is something that was not there 5 years ago, when political advertising actually came up as an issue on digital platforms. And these are some of the safeguards that we've put in place as a company to make sure that as users, you know exactly who is placing ads and why they are placing them.
I love this. I feel safe. I feel safe to vote.
We should.
I do. And it's and thanks to you and your team. Because genuinely, I mean, the fact that there's so much transparency, even to the point of that, I think that is so incredible, especially, like I said, at a point where we are at, such a critical place as a country.
It's important for users to trust our platforms. Because if you don't trust our platforms, then you will be also not be too comfortable with utilizing them.
Yes.
So respecting the user is one of the core values that we actually have as a company. And respecting the users also requires a level of trust. So it's important for users to trust us. It's important for users to understand the policies on our platforms.
Yes.
And it's also important for users to flag issues.
Sure.
So if you pick up any elements of something that may be hate speech and you're not sure, flag it. We actually have human reviewers who would review it if our machine reviewers would have missed it.
I love human reviewers.
Yes.
I love you have the best of both worlds.
Yes, yes.
Abongile, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's always so incredible to have conversations like this because, like I said, at a critical place is where we find ourselves as a country, but at a very exciting place, like we also said. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. 29th of May is looming, my friend. It is getting closer and closer. I know you're going to be going out and voting because we do not take it lightly, the fact that we can. But more than anything else, it is our responsibility as a South African. More of this conversation is going to be happening a little bit later on in terms of us and voting. However, right now, Carl is standing by with the news headlines.